Welcome back to the Wavecast. This is Hayes, joined as always by my ignorant host, Alice.
Hello there. Wait, what the fuck you say?
General Kenobi! That sounded more like Watto than Grievous, but today we are going to do a Star Wars tier list because we did our Marvel one, and with Bad Batch Season 3 right around the corner, I felt like now would be a good time to do a tier list for Star Wars. So we're going to do all the movies so far, the live action shows, the major animated shows, and then a few of the video games. So we're going to start with the OT, and we'll just get right into it unless you have any thoughts up front, Dallas.
Everything in F tier.
All right, fair enough. All right, let's start with A New Hope. I'll let you go first because I have some thoughts on this.
All right. Definitely was my first Star Wars movie or anything Star Wars related that I watched as a kid. So it was cool, but I think at the time of seeing it, I was like, this feels kind of overhyped, you know? Because like the animation, when you're a kid was a lot better than when this was made.
Yeah,
The graphics,
the CGI and the prequels.
Yeah, everything was just better. I was like, it's still neat though, but I think as you get older, you kind of appreciate that it has that uniqueness and kind of that age to it. I think it's a good movie. It's nothing crazy for me. Personally, I'd put it like A tier. I don't think it's anything bad, but I don't think it's anything amazing either.
Okay.
But I mean, it also is like the OG, so I mean, how can you not put it like at least A tier,
Yeah, that's fair. I kind of agree with that. I mean, I would say it's definitely in my upper tier because it is like the first one. But honestly, I find it to be kind of the most boring of
Yeah, like it definitely
the
is.
original
Like,
trilogy.
it is boring. It's kind of like mediocre, I guess, when it comes to kind of the action
Yeah.
or the kind of storytelling of it.
Yeah, you have to throw respect on it because it is the first one that, started everything. I get that. Everyone always raves, oh, it's never going to be as good as Star Wars. And obviously Empire is like, oh, the best sequel ever or whatever. But I would honestly maybe put it in B. I would be willing to go A.
I think it's like around like mid B to A. So like I'm fine with B, honestly.
All right, we'll put it in B for now. We can always adjust things later. But like, I mean, just everything after it, because like you said,
it just gets a lot better after.
We grew up in the prequel era, so
yeah,
I'm always gonna have a special connection to those, and also like the Clone Wars animated series and stuff like that. But
for sure, definitely.
A New Hope's just gotta take a little hit, unfortunately.
Yeah, it walked so the others could run.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Empire Strikes Back. I would say I'm willing to put this one in A, in Master tier, because I kind of like 5 and 6, Return of the Jedi and Empire equally. And obviously Empire is like a great sequel. It's highly regarded as one of the greatest sequels of all time. It has some iconic moments like the Han and Leia stuff, Vader and Luke at the end.
Yeah.
Hoth battle. Like there's a lot of iconic stuff about this movie. Yeah. It's one of the best.
Yeah, it's definitely a big step up from the first movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like that it actually has the Empire winning because often you don't see that. It's kind of like Infinity War in that way where Thanos wins, which I do like as well. So I would probably put this one in A or S, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's a solid A for me. Like you said, I think the Hoth battle is like the most enjoyable thing of this movie for me. I just thought it was so neat. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of unique interactions with Luke and Vader, and it was pretty neat to see. But I still don't think we're quite like anything crazy that belongs in S tier yet.
I'll put it in A. And also I want to mention, you get Boba Fett for the first time in this movie, even though he doesn't do jack shit. But that's what spawned the love for Boba Fett. You gotta wait
for his solo series. Just kidding. Don't wait for that.
Oh yeah, that's the best thing that's ever come out of Boba Fett. So moving forward, unless you have something else to say.
No, I'm good.
All right, Return of the Jedi. What do you think?
It definitely returned. Came back. I liked it. I think it was the best out of the original 3, at least in my opinion. I mean, I think it's a good ending to the kind of prequels. Not prequels, but original trilogy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's good. Again, it's not anything that I'm like, oh, that's like I love rewatching this movie. It's an A tier for me. I think it's solid. It's good, but it's nothing crazy. And I think I might be a little biased just because again, grew up in prequel era, so
Yeah, I feel you 100%. I would be willing to throw it into S or A, to be honest. I think it's my favorite of the original trilogy
yeah, for
because
sure.
I think I like the green lightsaber Luke most, to be honest, but that's kind of a smaller thing. But the reason I would put it in S is because I think it still has, to this day, one of like the best space battles for Star Wars, because the other ones we really have are Episode 3 in the beginning on Coruscant, and then the one in Rogue One. So I feel like it kind of set the standard for space battles, which I want to see more of.
Yeah, space battles are great.
I definitely enjoy throwing on Return of the Jedi more than the other two, if I'm just gonna looking for something chill to put on.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. I can definitely see the point of the space battles being kind of peak in that.
Yeah. I'll put that one in A. All right. The Phantom Menace. Whoo boy.
So boring.
There's
for
only
the most part.
one good thing about this movie, and it's Darth Maul.
Yeah, Darth Maul and his fight.
Yeah, I'm including that together. The final fight and just anything Darth Maul are like the only good things about this movie.
Definitely, this movie was. I'm gonna say it's a fucking drag. It's
Oh
boring.
yeah. The first like 85% of the movie just drags like ass.
Yeah, like you can.
Oh, pod racing too. That's the only other good part.
Yeah, the pod racing it was good, but I don't know if it can redeem the movie that
Oh no,
much.
hell no. It won't redeem it. I'm just saying that, like, when you get to that part, it's like, okay, let me sit up in my seat for a little bit, watch that, and then it's like, all right, back to slumping down until the Maul fight comes.
For real, like I would easily put this in C tier.
Yes, easily C. I'll say that as well.
And now that we got that,
Now you want to step in shit? You got Attack of the Clones.
what do you feel about this?
There's sequences I like. Obviously, the Geonosian battle arena is nice. I like to do like Camino in general. I just think it has like good music. It's a good aesthetic, and also fucking Django's sonic. What are they? Subsonic bombs or seismic charges? Those are awesome. Like the boom. But other than that, don't really care for it. It was nice seeing Yoda fight for the first time in this movie, but again, kind of like you said with Phantom Menace, not enough to redeem it. I would probably put it in F, to be honest. It'd be like one of the last ones I'd ever throw on.
I like the fight sequence when they're kind of like in the arena.
Yeah,
where they've been captured. I think that's really good. CGI is obviously stepped up. But yeah, they're it's kind of like the first one. It kind of drags a bit, but I still think it's better than the first one, than episode 1.
Yeah.
So I'd have to simply because that I'd either have to put it higher in C tier or low B tier.
I'd be willing to put it higher in C tier. I don't think it's quite B for me. And like I said, I'd personally put it in F just because there are few redeeming things. I mean, I would put both of these in F, to be honest, both Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. But I don't know. Yeah, the only thing that really kind of like I love about it is the Geonosian arena scene.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the seismic charges are just a cool add-on, but you get like 5 seconds of them.
Yeah, I mean, it has some decent fight scenes in it. You know, it's got a little bit of redeeming qualities in it.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, you got Kenobi in it, so I mean, and Mace Windu.
I do like Dooku. He's cool villain.
Yeah, the Dooku fight.
And actually, just thinking about it, like in that movie, he pretty much tells Obi-Wan like, yeah, the Senate is under the control of the Sith Lord, and they just fucking like ignore all of that.
They're like, who?
Like, oh, the Sith Lord may be in charge of the Senate. Guess we'll just ignore that.
Anyway, kill him.
Yeah. All right, and
that's
then
not suspicious at all.
yeah, didn't even do a formal investigation or anything. Just carry down like business as usual. All right, next up we got Revenge of the Sith, and I'm just gonna say that's going straight to S.
Oh, 100%. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Like, it is the best one out of, that trilogy. It's just too damn good. Man, it might be one of the best live action movies
I think it
out there.
You mean like
it might
not
just
even
be
Star
the best
Wars?
one.
Just in general?
No, just in Star Wars. Like,
I was gonna say, I think it is definitely the best Star Wars movie.
Yeah, like for live action, it definitely takes number 1 for me.
Yeah. This is the one I throw on at night when I like just need background noise to fall asleep to. I'm just like, all right, Revenge of the Sith is going on. Putting a 1 hour timer on, just listen to the music and the action sounds.
Grab your blankie and pass out.
Yeah. Like, dude, this movie has everything. It has, Anakin turning to the dark side. We get to see Grievous, or we meet Grievous and see him fall, but it finally, you get the Sidious reveal, you get the Phase 2 clone armor, you get Obi-Wan Anakin duel. That first Coruscant scene is amazing. The opening scene, so good. Everything about this movie, I say, is perfection. The one downfall is the bad CGI and dialogue, but
yeah,
it's pretty great. Besides,
you can overlook a little bit of bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is definitely great. I think the soundtrack is amazing.
They all
the fight
are,
scenes
but this one especially.
Yeah, like I think it's better than the rest of those. Like, kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think the fight scenes definitely are like peak in this movie. Like Anakin versus Obi-Wan, top tier.
Oh yeah, that might be the
Anakin's
greatest.
Like portrayal too. Like I think his actor did a great job of like actually showing him turning to the dark side. Portraying that, I think, was really well done.
Yeah,
just top tier. Like my personal favorite live action movie going forward. Like, oh man. I don't know if the other live actions even come close.
No, I would agree. It's definitely the top tier, top echelon. If we get another movie that's like in the Skywalker saga, which I doubt they'll do because they said it's going to be end, but I want it to be more like Revenge of the Sith. But
yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean we won't. They're going to go a different way. But all right, next we have The Force Awakens. I know you're not the biggest fan of.
Not the biggest.
A lot of the characters in this trilogy, but let's try to be unbiased here and
all right.
Give me your thoughts.
F2.
F2.
Oh shit! Sorry, unbiased. Oh.
No, you can be biased. I don't care. You can shit on it all for all I care.
It just feels like. It feels like the biggest pile of steaming shit that they produced. And the other two are somehow even worse. Like, I was excited for a new live action Star Wars movie. It'd been some time. I watched this and it was like, wow, this just feels a lot like they're just trying to copy the Anakin trilogy. Like what the fuck is this? It's just garbage. Like you kind of have like a Vader ripoff. You have with Kylo. You have Rey trying to be this ungodly force who's just so fucking strong, even though she shouldn't be, but she's not, but she is. And she's a Skywalker, so we gotta throw that in there to somehow redeem her. That was obviously that's a later movie, but still, just looking at the character in a whole, I literally hate everything about this movie and its two sequels. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, the story, the setting, the pacing, it's just all feels like a copy in such a bad way. The only thing I really like about this movie is Finn and Han. I feel like Han carried this fucking movie. Like, literally, I feel like he carried the shit out of this movie. And then when he died, movie died.
That's fair. I will say that when this movie came out, I was on top of the world just because, like you said, it's been like a decade since a movie came out. A live action movie, because we got the fucking animated one in between that. But it's been a decade. I saw it. I was on top of the world. But being 9 years after that now, it's soured for me a little bit because it's basically just A New Hope in a new age.
No, literally, it is.
So I don't know. Yeah. I loved Kylo. I mean, I will say I do like Kylo Ren as a character. I know he's kind of like a Vader fanboy, but I thought it was interesting, his whole story in general, not just Force Awakens, but I didn't like the way it ended. I think they handled it poorly.
The ending.
Rey definitely has her problems too. I don't hate her as much as you do because I know you despise her. She's not my most hated character, but she is overrated as hell. And I would agree with you. I do like Finn. I wanted Finn to... I mean, they promoted him as being the new Jedi character.
But then he wasn't.
And then he wasn't. And then they brought that back in episode 9. Like, oh, he's Force sensitive. But we'll get to that.
Get to that never.
Well, I meant we'll get to that when we're talking 2 movies. But I would also agree Han kind of carries it from the moment he gets on screen. I mean, you see the Falcon first, you're like, oh god, oh shit, Han's coming. I mean, they showed it in the trailer too, but as soon as the Falcon's on screen, you're like, all right, where's Han? Can't wait for Han.
No, yeah, he like carried it, and then he gets killed off, and you're like, okay, you know, I'm not upset with him dying, but at the same time, my interest has gone way down since he died.
To be fair, though, he's been wanting to die since the first movie, Harrison Ford.
Like, you know, I know Harrison Ford said, like, just fucking kill me if I come back.
Yeah. What else? I mean, and also Starkiller Base just being another Death Star, kind of bad choice. So, yeah, I would say F. Or I would even throw it in C. I'd say it's on par with the other two, with episode 2 and 1. Because I definitely think, well, no, I'll throw an F.
Yeah. They had mistakes to learn from in the past, and they knew what not to do, and they still did it.
I think it was a corporate, like, they just wanted to get as much money as they could out of Star Wars because they just bought it, like, a couple years prior and hadn't made, like, all their money back on it. So they were like, all right, what do the people want? People love episode 4. All right, we'll make episode 4.2. So.
Garbage. Get it out of here.
I will say this is where we will differ a little bit. I like episode 8 the most out of the trilogy. Out of the sequel trilogy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I like the way it went with Luke not being like, okay, yeah, I'll come back and fight. Like, I like that he had a different path than Legends, because I know a lot of people were expecting him to be like the Grand Jedi Master or Grand Master of the Jedi Order or whatever. But he's like, no, he's just a hermit who knows that his order failed, he failed, so he kind of wanted to be alone. I get that. The one thing I don't like about it is like with Snoke what they did, because I was hoping Snoke would build up to be like a Grand Palpatine villain, and they killed him off in the middle of the movie.
Yeah,
that's like my one complaint with it.
Garbage.
Well, not my one complaint, my biggest complaint, I would say.
Yeah, I remember seeing Snoke. I'm like, oh, dude, this guy's pretty badass looking. And I remember like all the rumors of like, oh, he's the kid that Anakin like, you know, like fucked up.
Yeah.
And like he somehow lived. And like there's so many like cool like kind of theories and like all that's revolving around the character, and then he's just nothing and he's just fucking dead. And you're like, okay.
Honestly, I didn't even like care about all the theories and stuff. I just thought he would be a cool, like, he in the, was it Force Awakens he says it, or maybe in this one he says, oh, I saw the rise and fall of the Galactic Empire or whatever. Like, I thought it'd be cool to have him be like just a random person who lived through all the stuff and maybe cross paths with Luke at some point, and maybe he was like a bad guy, but then he was like, all right, well, I'm just going to do what the Emperor did. And I liked him being just a normal guy, not related to anything. And then they just threw all of that away.
They could have done so much with them. Like he could have been a survivor from a Jedi attack or a lightsaber attack of some sort.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Disfigured he was, and like that made him hate everyone or turned him.
I was gonna say, even if he was like an ex-Imperial who crossed paths with Vader or like Emperor Palpatine at some point, like that would have been more interesting than what they fucking did with him.
Uprising of a villain, instead, like we have this fucking disfigured fuck in a aqua tank that does nothing but die.
Yeah. And also Carrie Poppins was a bad thing.
What's your role in this movie? You're gonna play this badass villain that people are pretty excited about, and then we're gonna kill you like instantly. Oh. Okay.
Yeah. And what else about it do I like? I mean, I don't like the fucking casino planet. What is it? Canto Bite. Like, I don't like that shit. And Rose is kind of cringe. But I do like the crate
Rose
aesthetic.
Is amazing. You just gotta believe, and it'll work out.
I do like the crate aesthetic though. It's kind of like Hoth, but then with the red mist was cool. I know it's technically salt, not snow, but
yeah. Like the visual of that looked neat. But...
yeah, I still liked that it went its own direction. It didn't like feel like any of the other movies to me, and I was kind of hopeful after that movie came out for the future. But then episode 9 came out.
Yeah, what do you feel about Luke's death though?
Honestly, I don't mind it. Like, it was kind of weird. Like, oh, I projected myself across the galaxy, so now I'm dead. But like. Fucking Yoda did the same shit. Yoda's the greatest Jedi ever, and he just dies in his sleep. So, like, I understand.
Literally depressed elder wizard comes out of retirement briefly to troll people and fucking dies and such.
Yeah, I didn't mind it because, like I said at the beginning of this rant, but like, they did a different take with him. He wasn't this grand heroic figure that everyone was expecting to be. Like, he had done all that shit in his life already. This is what, 30 years after the movies or so. A lot can happen in 30 years. We're not even 30 years old yet.
Also, I love how when they show the flashback scene with Kylo, like having the him asleep, and then fucking Luke has the dream or whatever, and he's like, "Nah, I just gotta kill this bitch right fucking now in his sleep." like, like I thought that was so stupid, and it did not feel very Luke fitting. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I think it does, because he says, oh, he saw Vader 2.0 basically, and it's only for a brief second he thought, okay, I can end this right now, and then he changes his mind. But that's the moment, you know, Ben wakes up and goes, okay, well, my uncle wanted to kill me. I'm going to the dark side now. But like, it's not like Luke was like the whole time, oh, I'm gonna fucking kill this kid. It was like a split second of like, everyone has those thoughts.
Rule's like, I had a dream. You're dead. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah, like I don't think that's that big a deal. And like I said, a lot happens in 30 fucking years. Like, we're not 30 yet. We don't know all of what he's been up to in all that time. So him having 1 to 2 seconds of, I can end this right now. Oh wait, no, that's not the Jedi way. I shouldn't do that. Like, I don't think that's that bad.
I don't think it's bad. I just think, I don't know. Like, I wanted to see more of Luke instead of him.
Well, I'll agree with
Really,
that.
not even like he was hardly in that movie, if I remember correctly. Like,
I still think it would have been better to kill him off in the last one, obviously. I think Harry should have died in the second one because of what happened in real life, but also just, I think Han dying, then Leia dying would have been better, and then Luke being the last one to like wrap it all up. But
yeah, I don't know. I feel like they kind of did Luke dirty by not giving him more screen time, and I don't know. I feel like his story was kind of wasted in a way.
I think that's definitely fair to feel that way too, but that's what all the fucking like Mandalorian era stuff is doing now, kind of.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's just another F tier movie that
I'm saying C. I'd rather watch this one than these two, to be honest. I'll put it at the end.
Like,
I'll put it at the end
C.
of C. But I'm just saying, I'd rather watch it over these two personally. And you say F, but I'm putting it bottom C. And this one can go to F.
Yeah, no, there's no discussion. Like, holy shit, dude. Do we even like acknowledge this movie?
Unfortunately, we have to.
Is that in the contract?
Yeah, it's part of Star Wars. As much as people don't want it to be, it is part of the mythos now. But Rise of Skywalker.
And somehow he returned. What the fuck?
Honestly, this is another one where I don't hate every idea that they had for it. It executed so badly.
Bro, you're all right. So imagine, you're in the Disney like executive room. You're throwing out ideas. You're like, how do we bring Palpatine back? How do we introduce him? We say somehow he returned, and then just move the fuck on. Fucking genius, race.
That's a bad decision.
Like, what is that? Who approved that? Like,
actually, he did come back in Fortnite, technically. So
shut the.
His speech went out in Fortnite.
No, but like, honestly, like,
I don't mind the idea of it. It's just they don't explain it all. Just somehow he returned.
Yeah, like literally, that has to be the worst. Like, I don't even know how to like say that. Like, it's just stupid. Like, how can you like critically, like criticize their decision here? No, it's just fucking stupid.
It might have not been so bad if they had hinted it in the other two movies. But it was literally like an afterthought.
Build up, there could have been like some Easter eggs, some like small little signs in the previous movies, any fucking thing. Instead of saying somehow he returned and then moving on and acting like it was such an obvious thing. Like, okay.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I wish they would have mapped out this fucking trilogy before they made it.
Oh, it definitely was just, let's make this and then, we'll do it on the go. It is just garbage.
I will say I do like Kylo Ren coming back to the light. It's just my only problem with it is that he dies right away, which happens with everyone who fucking redeems himself. So I would have changed that as well. God, other than that, yeah, everything else is pretty much shit.
Yeah, man. It's garbage. Like, somehow he returns, somehow Rey's a Skywalker, even though she's not. She's just like, I'm a Skywalker. That's not how that works. You're not.
Yeah, that's the worst decision I think they have ever made in their life. Like, I understand they wanted her to be related to Palpatine, but why couldn't she just be fucking nobody?
Yeah, like, why couldn't she be nobody? And then you have to try to make her related to Palpatine. Okay, fuck off, but whatever. Then she's a Skywalker now. How does that work? How does that make any sense?
She's not actually a Skywalker.
No, I know, but like she's saying that she's like, I'm a Skywalker.
Yeah, but I feel like they'll try to explain it away as like a Skywalker is going to be the new order instead of Jedi. We're the Skywalkers.
It's just sorry, that's just stupid. Like everything like that was just so dumb.
Yeah.
Burn it and pretend this never happened. Fucking forget about this movie.
I'd say that's also one of the biggest problems with the trilogy as a whole. Like with Kylo, I mean Kylo makes sense a little bit because he's Han and Leia's son, but like
Yeah,
just trying to make everything related to the Skywalkers, I think, is a bad idea because all the Jedi before in the prequel era, it's not like they all came from powerful fucking bloodlines and shit. Like they're just random fucking people. Why can't Rey just be nobody? I don't understand.
they don't know how to write. They don't know how to create a story. Terrible decision making.
I mean, it also doesn't help that they did this within like a year, when most movies take like 2 to 3 years to shoot, and they did it all within a year. So needed more oversight, more time, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, always pretend this movie doesn't exist.
To each their own, but unfortunately, some of us face reality. Let's move on from that shitty stuff, though,
And on to something great.
and onto something, yeah, a lot better. Let's talk about Rogue One a little bit.
All right. I would have to put this like high A or even S tier. I think Rogue One is so well done. It is one of my favorite live action movies. So nice. Like I think it's clean, it's well written, it has a great story and a great ending to it. Like it feels so good from start to end.
Yeah, I would agree. It's one of my favorite movies. I would
Also the
say,
Vader scene. Ooh.
yeah, that is
Like,
a great
hype.
scene. That started the whole hallway sequence stuff. Like that happened, and then Luke got his in Mando, and then Maul got his in the Clone Wars. So like that was iconic. I mentioned it a little earlier about Return of the Jedi. This has a great space battle, I think.
Yeah, Rogue One.
I want to see more like it. I hope we get a great space battle in the Thrawn movie, whenever that happens.
One could hope. But I mean, who knows?
I'm trying to I don't have a lot to say about Rogue One. I just love it. Like,
Yeah, it's just good. Like I don't have anything negative to say about it. Like I'm trying to think anything bad that I dislike about this, and there's really nothing for me. Like it's just good.
yeah, I can't even think of anything good to say either. Like, I just know I like it, but I can't point out specific stuff. I guess like I would say I do like that they all kind of died, because it like you think, oh, it's Star Wars, it's Disney, they're not all gonna die, and then they literally all fucking die.
Like, the
So
heroes
like
live,
it was kind of like
they're all dead.
unexpected. It was kind of unexpected, which I thought was really good. I loved K2. K2SO is awesome.
Yeah.
Baze and Chirrut were pretty cool. And we saw the end of Saw Gerrera, who had been a character since the Clone Wars. So yeah, great movie. I put it in S or A.
I honestly lean towards us. I think it's just a great movie. I think
I
it's a
could put it in
clean
S.
wrap up to it.
Oops.
Like
Didn't mean that to
fucking beat here.
no, I accidentally bumped my fucking keyboard. Yeah, I'll put it in S. That's fine with me. Solo.
I don't hate this movie, but I'm not like a huge fan. Honestly, I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's amazing. It's kind of like a middle ground movie for me.
That's fair.
I don't really also have a lot to say about this movie either. It's just kind of like one of those that it's there for me.
Yeah, I would say I liked it too. I know a lot of people didn't like it when it came out and boycotted it and shit for the recasting and a lot of stuff, but I was fine with it. I thought it did feel a little bit like the best hits, where it's like, oh, here's how I got his blaster, here's how I got his name, here's how I got the Falcon. Like,
Yeah.
I get that criticism of it, but at the same time, what do you expect from a Han Solo
Yeah,
movie?
what do you expect them to really do?
Yeah. And I do like the casting. I thought the guy did a pretty good job. This is like one of his first major productions, I think. I liked, what's his name is? Donald Glover, because I like him a lot. The chick from Game of Thrones, can't think of her name right now. She's good. Like all the casting, I think was pretty good. Story was simple. It wasn't like a galactic level threat like all the other movies and shit were.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say probably B. I'd put it on par with like the first movie.
Yeah, I think B is pretty good.
And then we're getting to shows now. So those are all our movies. I think we had a pretty fair assessment of that.
Agreed.
So let's start with Andor, just because it's kind of the most disconnected from the rest of the shows and the universe.
I know. Yeah, I didn't finish the last few episodes, so I know it's a sin. But I won't lie. It's a good show, but it's a very slow show.
I can agree with that.
Like honestly, I think the first 3 episodes, I was like, anything gonna happen? Like, oh man. And then you start getting to the like the ending of it, and you're like, okay, it's picking up more and more, but it's still just so slow. I think, but like I know why it's slow. Like it's not it's not a negative, but it is like it feels a lot longer than really what it is.
Yeah, I will say I kind of like that it's slow because it kind of gives you like a view into like the daily life of living in the Empire from some aspects. And it did start slow. I felt the same way too when I was watching it. I watched episode 1 through 3, maybe 4, and I was just like, okay, is it ever going to pick up? And then at the end of the second arc, it starts to pick up, and then it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling, and it's such a good show. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I think it has a really good ending and setup for season 2, so I'm excited for that to come out.
Yeah, but it's also, I guess, one thing that kind of lost my interest is we know how his story ends with Rogue One, so I think that's kind of why I was not as invested in it.
I kind of like that though because it's like, yes, you know where his story is going, but what led him to that point? What are the key moments in his life that caused him to be where he was when he died? So I kind of like that.
Yeah, I can see that.
It also adds a lot of drama. Like when he's in a tense situation, you're like, okay, well I know he lives, but like, how does he get out of this? Like, what the fuck is gonna happen next? I would say probably this would be A or S for me, to be honest. I would say A.
It'd be like around B for me, just because kind of how slow it was. But I think A is honestly fine.
I'm trying to think if I would rather watch Andor. Like, what do I like more, Andor or New Hope and Solo? I'm gonna put it in A for now. We can always drop it down later after we complete the list. And all right, let's do Obi-Wan next.
Ooh,
Kind of in that same era, but completely different story.
how do you feel about this show? I remember talking about it when all the episodes came out, and I remember we were kind of conflicted.
Here's the thing: I don't hate the show. It's not my favorite, obviously. I liked a lot of the ideas, as with a lot of stuff, but the execution was poor. The visuals were not great. Some of the story decisions I was kind of iffy on, but as a whole, I'd probably give it like a 6.5, 7 out of 10. So I didn't hate it. I liked all the Vader stuff. I like seeing the Inquisitor's fortress and all that.
Yeah, that was definitely very cool.
We got that in Fallen Order like a year or two earlier when that came out. So I'd probably put it around C.
Yeah, because I feel like there's also a lot of, I mean, you have the iconic characters, Anakin, Vader, Kenobi. Like, you can't really mess this up because if you do, you're gonna be like disappointing a lot of the fan base.
Yeah.
And they kind of did mess it up. Like you said, it's not awful. I definitely think people give it a little too much hate, but some of that hate's definitely deserved. Yeah, some of the story and like kind of the flow of it was not great. I think anything that involved actually like seeing kind of Kenobi and Anakin training together, I thought that was really neat. Anything with Vader on screen, which was always good.
Mm-hmm.
But everything that wasn't that, not so much.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Reva, the main Inquisitor.
Yeah.
She just felt kind of weak to me. The whole Leia, I liked the girl who played Leia. I thought she did a pretty good job, but like that whole plot line was a little...
It felt unnecessary. Like I don't know.
I mean, something had to get him off Tatooine.
Right.
Away from Luke, which I understand why. I mean, Leia would probably be about the only thing that would make him do that, but I don't know. Just some of the decisions they made, like, they were kind of goofy at times. Like when they fucking rescue her from the Inquisitor place, she's just under his jacket. Like as a fucking humpback or something. It just felt like a wild goose chase.
It really did. Like I wasn't a big fan of the Leia kind of plot to the show. Like it wasn't awful, but I felt like they could have worked up something different that didn't involve that.
I think the whole thing with Reva just took up a lot of time that I wasn't really interested in.
Yeah, it should have been a lot more focused on Kenobi and Vader, if I'm gonna be real with you. It should have been their show, because that's what it was marketed as, was their show, and it didn't feel like it was their show.
Yeah, I will say the one scene in their final fight when he cuts off his mask, that's a like hype moment.
Oh yeah, that was very good. I think they played that out really well. But
that fucking chase scene with Leia and the Force was terrible.
Yeah,
so bad.
Yeah, I would say it's like a C to B, like low B.
I'm looking at everything else we got. I would say C just based off everything else.
I'd say C just because like I don't think I'd ever really want to rewatch it.
Yeah. Do you think you'd put it high C, low C?
I'd say like lower C. I would say like above. Yeah.
I would say like there maybe. But that's me. We can put it here.
Yeah, that's it. Probably like there, just because like a movie you can like kind of throw on and not give a shit versus like the series, you know.
Yeah. Well, okay, this is kind of all about all of their shows except for Andor maybe. I think a problem that a lot of them have too is that they sometimes feel like, oh, here's a 6-part movie. And they do that with Marvel too, where instead of it being an actual show, it's like, here's a movie cut up into 6 pieces or 8 pieces or whatever. It's more so on Marvel, but I feel like Obi-Wan was that kind of way.
Yeah, I can see that.
So next we got Mandalorian season 1.
Garbage. No, I'm just kidding.
All right, straight to F.
No. Nah, honestly, I think Mandalorian's just been really good. I think it's a breath of fresh air for Star Wars. I'm not gonna lie. I think it definitely revived my interest for Star Wars because the past stuff wasn't great. I don't know. I just think it's how you portray a character like in a mask. You know, it's hard to like kind of show his emotions and stuff, but I feel like they do it so well that you can definitely feel what he's feeling and understand like what he's trying to convey with his body language and like his actions instead of like oh, his face looks sad, therefore he's sad, like you can just tell, and like the way he kind of moves and like his responses, like you can tell like what he's trying to convey, and I think they do it so well. And whoever's the writer of the Master Chief and Halo show, go fuck yourself for having to take the helmet off, because this is how you actually show a character's emotions through body language. Just take notes.
Yeah, I haven't seen the Halo show, so I can't agree with that, but I've heard bad things, so.
Yeah, just the most iconic character that never takes his helmet off and you never see his face, and they fucking take it off in episode 1, Well, should we gonna convey emotion if you can't see his face? Go fuck yourself, Halo. Anyway, back to Mandalorian. I think it's fucking great. Like, I think it's awesome. Like, sure, I think some of the episodes in season 1 are a little slow, but I think there's nothing wrong with that. Like you said, sometimes it's good to be slow. I like it. I think it's a solid A tier for me. Maybe even borderline S.
Yeah, I agree that it is a breath of fresh air because I think it came out right before episode 9, I think. So people were ecstatic about episode 7 when it came out, and then they kind of waned with 8, and they're like, all right, we're doing the Mandalorian now, and I think that kind of brought people back who were kind of turned off by The Last Jedi. I would also put it in A because I feel like it is great. Don't get me wrong, like it's some of the best I think Star Wars that they've ever done. I love the Western setting. And the only reason I put it in A is because it did feel a little kind of like lower budget at times, which I get because it was their first TV show and they were developing the volume technology and everything. So yeah, I would say A. The twist with Grogu, I mean, that was like, no one saw that coming. And not every episode was a home run. Like the episode where he's like doing the prison break job with his old gang, like I thought was kind of weaker. The episode with the bounty hunter and Fennec Shand was a little weaker too. But yeah, overall, really good show. So we could put it in A.
Yeah.
You want to put it?
I definitely say like high A.
Above Empire?
For me personally. I don't know about you.
That's fine.
I also love how they make it to where each episode's kind of its own thing and then it's like own story, and it's not like a continuous like this episode connects this one and this one, it's kind of like this episode we're gonna go on this random adventure. Like I think that's honestly really fun.
I like both kinds of storytelling. I think it 100% depends on the show, which I think because it's more like a Western type show, it definitely fits better.
Yeah, it's literally a modern Western.
But yeah, I think that's perfectly what it is. But I think, yeah, the episodic instead of serial kind of show, like episodes.
Yeah, and they're still like connected too. Like some of them connect into each other, which is great, and then others don't. I think, which is a good like kind of flow for the show, especially for what it is. I mean, he's a bounty hunter. It shouldn't be like every single episode, connects.
100%.
So I think they did that perfect.
Yeah, it was a great fucking hit. Love Jon Favreau.
Who's that?
So season 2. Thoughts on season 2?
Nothing bad again. Like honestly, I was very hyped for this to come out. I think they just literally did what season 1 did, but some stuff a little bit better. I think you saw him becoming more of the Mandalorian. They explored that a bit more, which I really liked. Nothing bad. Honestly, kind of same vibes as season 1.
Yeah, I would say I definitely think season 2 is a step up. And not to say season 1 is bad again. Like, I love season 1.
Yeah, like they definitely improved it, you know.
But season 2 from the get-go, that first episode, I think is amazing. It's probably one of my favorite episodes of the series. And I feel like there are less episodes in this season where I'm kind of like tuned out like I did with the other 2 that I just mentioned. So like, I would say this one's S. It just kind of turns everything up a notch. And then you get that finale with Luke and him taking his helmet off, say bye to Grogu and shit. Like,
Yeah, you're
that
like,
was S
no,
tier.
not the fucking baby. You can't leave him. Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It is a step up. Yeah, I think it's just good. Nothing bad about it.
Agreed.
Okay, but season 3, I will have a different opinion on.
Yeah, go for it. I was going to go to that next.
So yeah, like you said, the end of season 2, you know, the baby leaving to go train, right? Then the little bitch comes back in fucking first episode. Like, I was expecting him to be gone for, you know, at least till the end of that season, if I'm gonna be honest. Like, I figured he'd come back kind of like the second to last episode, but not expecting him to be back in the first episode. That was kind of something I didn't really care for, because like it was a big kind of like emotional scene with him leaving, and then he's just back, and you're like, so soon, really?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, definitely a step down from season 2. And I would say season 1 is probably better than season 3 as well.
Yeah,
But
like season 3's not bad, but
no,
it's
no.
just some of the stuff it does, I feel like was dumb.
Questionable, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I have a few issues. I mean, the whole like Darksaber angle, I was really hoping he would kind of rise to be the leader of Mandalore. And I know a lot of people are like, well, that's never been his story. He's always just wanted to like be him and Grogu or whatever. But like, they kind of set up for season 1 and 2. He's a good leader, even if he doesn't like want to be a leader.
Yeah.
So I feel like that would have been a good character arc for him. And same with what you said, like Grogu's back way too soon. They did it in fucking Boba Fett. I was expecting at least half the season. I would have said like maybe 4 episodes of him alone, and in the second half of the season maybe they'd reunite. That's what I was expecting personally, but him just coming back right away, and if you didn't see Boba Fett, you're kind of like, wait, what the fuck just happened? All the Bo-Katan, I thought the Bo-Katan stuff was okay. I like her as a character.
Yeah, I like her as a character. I just kind of feel like season 3 is the Bo-Katan season.
Yeah, and I think that's has to do with a lot of behind the scenes stuff, because that was around the Gina Carano firing and stuff. And also, what was the other thing I was just thinking of? Oh, I didn't like what they did with Gideon. I liked what we got from Gideon. I just feel like they cut him too short.
Okay, yeah, his final fight should have been so much more.
I feel like he still had more character to give.
Yeah. I was not a big fan of how he went.
And also kind of same like with Grogu coming back. It's kind of like with him too, where it's like season 2 they haul him off, and then I think it's like maybe the second or third episode they're like, we're investigating the disappearance of Moff Gideon being taken from his shuttle or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, okay, did you want to show us that? Did you want to have any time with him like in a New Republic prison or anything?
Yeah.
Like, no, he's just back to doing his old things.
He's missing, but weird. But why?
This feels like they took 2 seasons of Mando and smashed it into one and cut out like half of each episode and smashed them together.
It's very possible they might have done that for some reason.
Yeah.
Another highlight I will say about this is the mini guy, the like big guy with the minigun, his death.
Yeah.
Honestly, that hit me harder than I thought it would. Not gonna lie.
Honestly, me too.
I was like, he's gonna die. I'm like, that sucks. And then he dies. I'm like, wow, that really fucking sucked.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way, because they kind of made him more of a character in that season because they had him with his son, and
yeah,
they kind of showed that he was starting to actually respect Din instead of being like adversarial toward him. So when he was facing off against the 3 Praetorian guards, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck him off. That was a very hype moment. And they definitely made it emotional when you kind of take a character that's kind of a side nothing character and turn it into something that's actually people are cheering and rooting for, and then disappointed kind of when he dies,
Yeah. Also, I just had another thought. I will say, I think they're in atmosphere ship shots looked a lot better in this season. Like, I'm specifically thinking of the Bo-Katan chase through her world, the TIE fighters, but also when Din is attacking the pirate ship over, I forget the Navarro. I thought that looked really good visually.
Honestly, don't remember that well. So can't really say.
It's kind of a short sequence, but I just remember watching that. I'm like, this actually looks fucking really good. So I would say B for that. How about you?
It's like, yeah, like you say, it's like an up and down season. It's like you have good parts that are really cool, then you have dumb, kind of pointless parts that bring it back down.
Remember you got Jack Black and Lizzo in it too.
Yeah, that was. I wasn't a big fan of that personally. I didn't hate it, but I
I
kind of
like
thought
the
it was
Jack
dumb.
Black part, not the Lizzo
Yeah.
part.
I was waiting for her to shove a banana down someone's throat. But yeah, I don't know. I would say like, kind of like you said, maybe like low A or even B tier.
I'm gonna say B just to not saturate A too much, but I'll put it at the top of B though.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I definitely like season 1 more than 3, but I don't hate season 3 either.
Yeah, I think if I had to rewatch him, I would watch season 2 the most, then 1, and then bits of 3.
Yeah, that's my order is 2, 1, 3. Let's talk about Mandalorian season 2.5 though.
Sorry, what?
Boba Fett.
Oh, the show that fucking no one remembers.
Oh, I remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers.
God, dude, I was actually pretty. I remember when this was now. It's like, okay, this could actually be kind of cool. We're gonna see like more bounty hunter shit. I'm down. Nope, that was garbage. I don't want any more of that. That was not how you bring a character back. I am not a fan. Nothing positive to say.
This is kind of like how I feel about like episode 9 and 8, I guess. Like I like some of the ideas they're going for. In execution, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't mind him wanting to be like the new crime lord on Tatooine. Like that kind of makes sense to me. Not like 1,000%, but a little bit. It's just a lot of the visuals were bad. That fucking the scooter gang was cringe.
That was garbage.
Them only giving him 5 episodes out. He only appeared in 5 out of 6 episodes. Or 7 episodes. I'm pretty sure, or something like that. Because I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. There was I think there was one episode. There was one episode where he literally was not in the episode. The title character was not in the episode. How does that make sense?
I don't like this show.
Yeah, I didn't like that they did the Mando stuff in there. If they would have cut out the Mando stuff, I don't think it would have been perceived as bad. Because once Mando showed up, no one really gave a shit about Boba Fett anymore.
Oh yeah, because Mandalorian's a better character, and then you have Mandalorian or not Mandalorian, Boba Fett just being a side character in his own show.
Yeah, well, I did like all this Tusken stuff that we got too. I thought that was good, and that's what I'm saying. Like episode 1, 2, and maybe 3, I can't remember.
But they didn't really elaborate much on it. It was just like bits and pieces.
But I thought it was fine. It showed like after he got out of the Sarlacc, he was like taken in by the Tuskens first as a prisoner, and then he earned their respect.
Right. What I'm saying is like they didn't show it enough.
Well,
That's
yeah,
like what I'm saying.
but I'm saying like he learned how to be humble and all that. But then like they drop it after the 3rd episode when they all die, and I was expecting him. He does get his revenge. You know, he gets the biker gang and then the Pikes who are in the city or whatever. But I was expecting to have more of an impact, like you're saying. I don't know.
Yeah.
I did like what we got from it though.
I'm gonna be honest though. I think they could have left this character dead, and I don't think anyone would have cared. Like,
definitely. I mean, like he didn't have to come back.
no, it's kind of one of those things where they bring a character back from dead because they don't really know either A, how to make new characters, or B, how to like create something with the characters they already have. And so then it's just kind of like, well, let's do kind of like bring someone back, do a cash grab, and have the hype from it. And then they fuck it all up and make it garbage. And then people ended up disliking him.
I do think there was a degree of that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, if you're going to bring a character back, I think you definitely cannot fuck it up. And they fucked it up.
I also like the Rancor stuff. Sorry, I just thought of that. But yeah, no, if it's like every other episode, it was like, okay, this seems like it'll be good. And then, oh no, this is bad. Oh no, this will be good again. Oh no, this is bad. Oh yeah, Mando's back.
Hey, I'm interested. And Mando's gone and Borg.
Also, I feel like I'm just thinking about the show more. The Cad Bane stuff wasted.
Yeah, oh dude, I was very hyped. I was like, oh dude, Cad Bane. Oh, Cad Bane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disappointing. Yeah, I would say
I would put it in like either low SC or like even F tier.
I'll say
because I have zero interest to ever watch the show again.
We can put it in F. I'll put it high F though, because I'd rather watch that than these ones again.
Oh, there's nothing else in F tier though. Sorry. I move it on from that garbage.
All right, Ahsoka. Did you ever
What
you
do you
watch
think?
Ahsoka, right? Yeah.
I did.
I was gonna say, I don't see why you wouldn't, but I don't remember us ever talking about it that much.
Honestly, I was trying to think of that too, and I remember talking about the first 2 episodes, but then I don't remember anything after that.
Yeah. I liked Ahsoka though. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I don't have anything horribly bad to say. Like, I think again, it kind of has that issue of it is a bit slow in parts where I feel like nothing's really going on.
hmm
But other than that, I didn't dislike it. I think it had pretty damn cool fight scenes.
Yeah, I would agree. I think my biggest problem is pacing, and not just too slow, but also at the end, like too fast. I feel like the last episode wrapped up way too quickly.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I definitely feel that too.
But yeah, action was good. I thought, like, to go back to Kenobi for a sec, when he was doing his lightsaber stuff and like hitting stormtroopers, his lightsaber just bounced off of them. With this, they actually made it like a point, like, no, this is gonna cut through something.
Yeah, I think the lightsaber sequences were very well done.
Yeah. And my biggest story problem with it is the whole Sabine thing.
What's that?
Because while I do think that, like, yeah, the Force is like, lost my fucking train of thought. The Force is like, everyone can feel the Force to some
like
degree.
a part of everyone.
Yeah, like you can feel the Force to some degree. Accessible. I was trying to think of accessible. The Force is accessible to everyone, but not in the way like a Jedi or Sith uses it. Like I feel like you have to be
accessible,
very
not usable.
right. Like, and I feel like it would have been better in the way that Chirrut and Baze from Rogue One, like they feel the Force. I'm with the Force. Force is with me. Like they feel it around them, flowing through them. They can't use it to force push and force pull and stuff like that. I feel like you have to be born with that ability.
Right. At least you have to be trained.
Yeah, at least in my personal philosophy. And we see that all the time. Like Wookiees, the Wookiees as a whole are very like force sensitive beings. Like they're all kind of force sensitive to some degree, but they're not all Jedi. So I feel like that was a mistake, making Sabine able to use the Force based off of no force sensitivity.
Yeah, it definitely is kind of, again, one of those things where I think they're just throwing that in there to build kind of a hype moment.
A little bit, yeah.
When it's unnecessary.
I mean, yeah, that'd be my biggest thing. I liked all the other stuff. I liked Balin and Shin and Merrick. Like, I thought he was cool, even though we still aren't like 100% what he was. I think he was a reanimated corpse, but I liked Ezra coming back. I know a lot of people don't like Ezra, but I've personally never had a problem with him outside of season 1 of Rebels. Yeah, nothing really else bad to say.
Yeah, I think it's like an A tier for me.
I would agree. I'll put it in A. Where do you think?
Say like mid-A.
Like there? Or like
Yeah, I think
there?
that's
or
probably
like
fair.
there?
Yeah, something like that.
Like there? If it ever fucking is. All right, we'll put it right in the middle.
Somewhere in mid.
Yeah, we'll put it right in the middle. All right, the Clone Wars animated movie from 2008.
No.
Yeah, you could burn this and I wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say besides just no. Like, can we skip that? Forget it existed.
I mean, I usually do most of the time. Funny story about that. I got one of my buddies into Star Wars a while ago, and he was asking me like, "Oh, what should I watch?" And so I'm like, gave him the movies first, obviously, get him introduced, and I'm like, "You should watch the Clone Wars." He's like, "Okay," and he's like, "What's this Clone Wars movie?" I'm like, "You don't gotta watch that. Like, you can just skip that. It's like, you already know Ahsoka's a character because you watched a live action show. Just skip that." And he's like, "I'm gonna watch it anyway." I'm like, "All right, man, your funeral."
Yeah, no, it's so pointless. Why did they even make the movie? It just felt garbage.
I mean, they did it to promote the new show, where they literally just took like 4 episodes of the show and smashed them into a
literally,
movie,
it's just
in quotes.
a repeat of what we know, and I was just like, okay. Yeah,
I mean,
there's no point of it.
It was the newest thing at the time. Like, Clone Wars, the show, had not come out yet, so I guess the biggest reason I think is just to introduce Ahsoka. I feel like if they would have just started the show and she's in it, it would have been like, what? So, yeah, it's a steaming pile of garbage. I always skip it. I think the last time I watched it was when did I come out? 2008, probably.
I watched it once. I was sick as a kid, and I remember renting it. And I remember being bored out of my mind watching it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a lie. I've watched it since then, but not in a fucking long time. It's probably been a decade since I've watched it.
But garbage. Moving on to something better.
Yes, Clone Wars, the TV show. And I didn't want to break this one down by season because I feel like it skips around so much. So let's just talk about it as a whole.
I think, okay, as a whole, it's a good show through and through. but the early seasons, the animations are pretty rough. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like they're borderline bad
Yeah.
in a lot of spots. Like it's very, very rough. And luckily, the story is good enough to keep it interesting. Otherwise, I think it would have failed on that first season. But yeah, like as it moves on through the seasons, the animation cleans up a lot, and then it becomes so good. I fucking love this show, dude. Like I remember being so excited every single like weeknight when it would come out. I think it came out like what, a Thursday or Friday night.
I don't remember.
I don't even remember. But I just remember like waiting for it and be like, come on, Clone Wars. Like that shit was my jam. Yeah, I love this show. It's definitely S tier for me.
Yeah, I agree about the first like 2.5, 3 seasons. Animation is brutal. Same friend when he was watching. I'm like, dude, just you got to get through the first couple seasons and trust me, it's worth it. I tell it to everyone who I recommend it to. But yeah, first 2 seasons animation wise, doo-doo. Story, like it didn't have the greatest episodes in the beginning, although there were some standouts, like the first Echo and Fives episode, Rookies, I think it's called, or something like that. But
yep.
That's the only one off the top of my head I can think of right now. But I know that like the Ryloth ones were okay in the first season. I'm not going to go through every episode, but I would say by like by the end of the 3rd season, that's when Maul comes back, I'm pretty sure, or is teased.
Oh, dude, the Maul story is so good.
Yeah, that's when Maul is teased to come back. So that's about the time when Asajj becomes a bounty hunter. She separates from Dooku. But then after that, so good. Season 7, when it came out, when it was announced in 2021 or whatever it was, like I was ecstatic because I always wanted to have a proper ending to this show.
Yeah, no, it was.
This was my
dude,
childhood.
The Maul story, like literally, they brought a character back that barely got used and just made him like so much better.
Yeah, that's how you bring a character back, not Boba Fett style. That is how you bring
a character back. Like you bring a character back that deserved to actually have more screen time, and then bring him back in such a way that it just builds upon him and improves him. Yeah, so clean, so good. Like every episode Maul was in was so fun to watch.
Yeah, agreed. Like the way that this show like kind of expanded on the mythos of Star Wars during the prequel era, because like going from episode 2 to 3, it doesn't seem like much of anything happened. But then you watch this whole show and you're like, God damn, that makes episode 3 so much better.
No, literally, like it expands the story because you see it from different perspectives, Like you see it from the clones of like Rex and Cody and everyone else that's in their unit. You get to see more Anakin and Obi-Wan, and their story gets built up more. And, they can actually build the characters out more instead of being rushed in the movies.
100%. It adds so much depth.
Yeah.
But that's it. Like I said, that's my childhood.
Like if I'm gonna be real, if there's like one piece of Star Wars that like anyone would watch and like actually want to like get into the lore, I would say watch the show because I think it builds upon so many characters in such a good way, and you get to see it from so many different perspectives too. Like it's not just seeing it from like Anakin or Obi-Wan's. You get to see Maul, you get to see kind of more. Palpatine, you get to see Dooku, like you get to see Grievous like in his lair and stuff, which I thought was really cool. That was one of my favorite episodes.
That's another early season episode that's pretty good.
Yeah, like I think it just really fleshes out Star Wars and definitely my most recommended thing to watch within the Star Wars
100%. I was gonna say if you look at like everything on here, it definitely does the most heavy lifting for all eras of Star Wars. Like
like world building. I think
everything stems from this era.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at shit again. Yeah, I mean like it's so good. It would definitely be like one of my number 1 choices for everyone to watch. Would you put it above Revenge of the Sith though? Only reason I'm doing
so like. As a whole,
this built the foundation for this. That's the only reason I put it right behind it.
Yeah, definitely. Like as a whole, maybe because like obviously it has more to it. But if we look at it as a Revenge of the Sith kind of walked thing,
yeah,
then no, I think it's honestly perfect where it's at right now.
I would agree. Yeah, I don't like I said. I only put it after Revenge of the Sith because obviously this came before. It came first, and it kind of like provided the groundwork.
The love of those characters.
It is the reason that this exists. It is the reason this exists so that they could bridge this and this together. So
literally,
yeah. And then let's talk about Tales of the Jedi. Short and sweet. What do you think?
Not bad, not great, just there.
So you'd say like B?
I would say like B to C, honestly.
I would say B only because, like I said, it is so short. It's 15-minute episodes, so like you're not expecting a whole bunch out of it. But like the stuff that we do get, I think is, well, mostly really good. I love the Dooku stuff. It really expands on Dooku's character. And the Ahsoka stuff is kind of like you can take it or leave it, but it is nice to see just a little more expansion outside of the Clone Wars series. So that's why I'm saying like B, because it's nothing huge.
Yeah.
But I'd probably place it there. All right, The Bad Batch.
Fucking love it.
I'd put it in S.
Yeah, like why the fuck not? I mean, it's literally, it's just good. It's another Clone Wars, pretty much like spinoff.
It is.
I mean,
The Clone Wars epilogue.
Quality. It's just good. Like, I literally have nothing else to say, but it's just fucking good. Like,
all right, then I'll start talking then. I would say, yeah, it, like you said, it's just an extension of the Clone Wars, and it really is. You know how like when the Clone Wars came out, like part of the hype of it is like, oh, you get to see the clone more. You get to see the clones like story, and that's all of Bad Batch. It's just only about the clones essentially. Granted, it's one specific squad, but we are still getting a grander story about the fate of the clones, and I feel like that's all I've ever really wanted to see from the post Revenge of the Sith era, because by the time of New Hope, they're all stormtroopers. So you're like, what happened to the clones? And I think it's executed very well. So one of my favorite shows. Can't wait for the third season. Comes out on Wednesday. Let's go.
Definitely see how they end it.
I wish they would do one more season though. When they announced the third season to be the final, I was kind of bummed. Cause I'm like, I feel like they could get at least 4 seasons out of it.
They could, but I mean, as long as they tell it properly and don't shorten it, I think it's fine.
I don't think they will. I mean, it's set to be 16 episodes like all the other seasons have been. Granted, the very first episode was like an hour long, but
I think it'll be fine. As long as,
that.
like, I think it's better for them to end it rather than milk it.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I feel like 4 would have been the fucking perfect number. Like, you don't want it to go too long, but I also feel like it depends. We'll see what happens, but I feel like there's so much more story to tell, and maybe they'll just pick it up in a new show. But I felt like 4 seasons would be like the sweet spot. That's just me though. But I am so excited to see how that ends. So, moving on, we got Star Wars Rebels.
Meh.
Not a fan?
I remember watching this when I was younger. I never really could get into it much. I did not like the animation. Like, I don't like the way they animated it. It's not something I'm into. Wasn't a huge fan of the story either. So for me, it would be a C tier. I know you actually got into it more, so.
Yeah, I would say I agree on the animation aspect, that like going from Clone Wars to this when it was, happening in real time, I was kind of like, I don't like it. And honestly, I didn't like the first season that much, but I stuck with it because I'm, a Star Wars nerd. I'm like, I'm going to watch it. And I feel like by the end of season 2, it had finally hooked me. And then season 3 and 4, I think are really good. But besides season 1, or like halfway through season 2, I think it was slow and boring, but I love Kanan. Kanan's one of my favorite characters after like season 3 and 4 is when he gets really good. Same with Ezra. He's kind of annoying in the beginning. I always thought Sabine was pretty cool. Hera's cool. Zeb is cool. Chopper's awesome. And also it brought Thrawn back. I thought that was amazing. What else?
Yeah, I didn't get into it, so.
I think those are all my major things. Yeah, I thought it was really good. Well, mostly really good. So you said C. I would say B. I'll put it at the end of B. Is that all right? All right. Star Wars Resistance. I doubt you even watched this one.
Nope, never watched that one.
Yeah, I did watch it, and luckily it was only 2 seasons, but it was fucking garbage. So I'm putting it at the end here.
Yeah, like literally, you put it on there, and that was the one thing I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah, honestly, I wouldn't have watched it if I wasn't such a Star Wars fan. Like I said, I watch pretty much everything they release, and yeah, it wasn't great. It took place right before Episode 7, and kind of went into Episode 7/8 territory, and God, it just sucked. They got Oscar Isaac back to voice Poe for some of it, and that didn't help it at all.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what else I can say to kind of paint the picture. I'll give you a brief synopsis and you can judge. So this guy in the green here, that's the main character. He is a New Republic starfighter pilot, not Resistance. who goes on an undercover mission on some like space, or it's not space station, it's like a fueling station on an ocean planet. And basically his whole mission is to find out more about the First Order. And then by the end of the first season, the First Order does their Star Killer attack in like in episode 7. So then season 2 is just she leaves because she joins the First Order temporarily. She's an ex-Imperial's daughter who's also one of these racers. Oh, and they just race. These are race ships.
So it's NASCAR meets Star Wars. Got it.
Basically, yeah. And but the second season is basically just him and her at odds, basically. And then by the end, they reunite. And it's so boring. But yeah, shit show. I don't recommend it to anyone unless you want to fucking sit through 2 seasons of boring shit. So let's move on to video games. So video games are going to kind of combine these. It's like the same in the series. So we'll start with Knights of the Old Republic. Did you ever play those?
I played it very briefly, but at the time it was out, I wasn't really into it. I also wasn't big into PC gaming back then.
Well, this is Knights of the Old Republic. You're thinking of Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh,
Knights of the
okay,
Old Republic came
are
out
you just
on...
combining all of them?
Well, no, I'm talking about the first 2, Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars: The Old Republic is the PC one, the MMO.
Okay, yeah,
This is just an RPG.
Ooh,
came
RPG,
out
okay, yeah.
On the original Xbox and PS2, I think. So.
Ooh, yeah, shit. Oh, I was definitely getting the fucking confused so hard right there. No,
Yeah, no,
okay,
not
so
the MMO.
No, I definitely I never played that. This one, I briefly played it. I had like a demo of this game. Like that was like all I played of it. I never really got into it. It was just like, whatever.
Well, I'll say I love this game. I played on the original Xbox, and I can't tell you how many times I played it. It was so good. You get to play as Revan, which you don't find out until the end of the game. Spoilers.
Oh no.
I mean, what did it come out even? Like 2002, I think. And then they had a sequel. Probably. I think it was around then. But they had a sequel as well, Knights of the Old Republic 2. And I think these games are what made the Old Republic era so popular. So I feel like they're kind of iconic. I loved playing them as a kid. I've honestly played them on my PC when I first got it. They were in a bundle, so I'm like, fuck it. I'm buying them and replaying them. And they're supposed to release a remake, the Coder remake.
Yeah, I remember that. But they're they haven't said anything about it, have they?
They recently, like within the past year, I can't remember exactly when it was, there was some news, probably within the past 6 months, that they lost the trademark on it and they were going to stop working on it or whatever. But then the developers came out and said, no, that was just like, that happens to a lot of stuff. Or like, I don't know. There was some weird shit with it. So people thought it wasn't coming out, but they say it supposedly is. When? I don't know. I think it was supposed to release like a couple of years ago, but it keeps getting pushed back and it's still in development. So we'll see. I'm really excited if it does come out, but I really want the main canon, because these are Legends games now, but I want the main canon to explore the Old Republic era. That's like one of the people's most favorite eras.
Yeah, no, it'll definitely be cool for the remake whenever it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I would
A tier.
Put it in A, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And then, so next we got the original Battlefront games. Did you ever play those?
Did I ever play those? Those are like my most played PS2 games. Some of them, like the first one, not so much, but the second one, like I fucking love that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like replaying Hoth and just fucking running around in the snow. That shit was so fun. This is definitely like a top tier, A tier, even like I'd honestly say like S tier. Like just being able to visit all the planets and plays like all the different factions was really fun. That shit was mad fun as a kid, playing with your friends or just running around and trying to like make sure you're the one that got the fucking Jedi or the superpower when you respawn.
Yeah, I have so many great memories of this game with one of my buddies. We used to play the first one all the time, and that was the one where you couldn't play as Jedi or Sith or anything. You were just a stormtrooper or a clone trooper, or, another class, etc. And Battlefront 2 is the one where you could become that person, and I would always play the hero battle mode. That was my jam. We're on the Mos Eisley map, you know what I'm talking about? Where it's just all heroes versus all villains.
Yeah, like I know the mode you're talking about.
Yeah, I played that shit all the time. And also, I love the campaign in the second one. I don't know why, I just loved going through it.
Yeah, the campaign was really fun.
But yes, I would agree.
Also, the space battles, though, in the second one, so fun.
Honestly, I don't mind them, but as a kid, I fucking hated them. On
I think for
replays, I will
me,
replay them, and I'm like, okay, this isn't that bad, but
I love just boarding the enemy, the enemy ships and trying to sabotage them.
yeah, flying
Feels
into
so
the
fun.
hangar, going to the
Yeah.
engine room and the gun room and all that shit, or the turret room, I mean. But yeah, I would say S tier. Those two games are like another like part of my childhood that I have vivid memories of.
Yeah.
All right, so Force Unleashed series.
Super fun, honestly. Like, I think Star Killer's a great character. I think it was really fun, especially at the time that came out. I thought it was just really cool being able to play as him and just fuck shit up. Like, because you're playing as the villain, and then also Vader's in there, so that made it even better.
Yeah, I thought this was a really fun game to just like go in and fuck shit up.
Yeah. I think it had a good story to it, like being able to see how powerful Star Killer is, and then seeing, he's Vader's apprentice and he had to fight Vader. Like, that was just mad hype for me.
Yeah, really, really fun game.
I would say definitely like A tier. It's nothing crazy, but I don't think it deserves anything bad.
Yeah, I can do A. I was gonna say B, but I can bump it up to A. Like I was kind of wish-washy on it before. All right, now we have the EA era Battlefield games.
Okay, first one garbage.
Agreed. I mean,
Second one
I think they're both garbage.
started out garbage and then actually became pretty fun because they fixed a lot of the issues that everyone had gripes with, and that game actually was really fun. I don't know if you ever really got into it, but there's this 2v2 mode where you can, like, it's hero versus hero, and that was super fun. Just being able to like duel it out with other players online as heroes. Like, me and my friend just like played the shit out of that for I would say like way too long. We'd be up till like 3 a.m. or something. It was mad fun. And then like the normal like conquest modes and stuff, I thought those were pretty fun too. Still, like, it literally just kind of fleshed out the first game.
Yeah.
I don't think I could compare it to the first game in a sense, since I grew up with that, and I do think it did some things better. But at the end of the day, I still think the remake and like the second kind of half of its lifespan was really good.
I wanted so bad to get into this game, but I just couldn't. Well, both of them. I mean, the first one I probably played more, to be honest, and yes, it wasn't that great because there was no campaign mode. It was only Galactic Civil War era, which is WOT. Like, yeah, I didn't like it. Battlefront 2 came around, and I so wanted it to be good, and I wanted to get into it. I just never did. Even when I tried it again after they fixed all the bad stuff at launch, like, I could just never get into it.
Yeah, I didn't like. I only got into it kind of like towards the end of its lifespan, but like it was mad fun towards the end. Like, like I said, the start of it was garbage.
Yeah.
Also, like the Ewok hunt, that shit was actually pretty fun.
I do remember seeing videos of that. That looked pretty fun.
Yeah, it's just pitch black and you have the fucking Ewoks hunting you down. Like, it's a horror game, man.
Yeah.
So the first one I'd put in C tier, and the second one I'd put like B tier, just because of how rough the first its launch was.
All right, I'll throw it in B because we got to combine the two games, but also that's probably where I would have placed it anyway. So
Yeah.
I really did want to get into that game. I was hoping it'd be like the OG Battlefront 2, but disappointed. But moving on, getting towards the end of the list here, we got two more games, which I didn't want to combine it because I feel like they're different and also so new. Different. We got Jedi Fallen Order.
How do you feel about it?
I love it. It's one of my favorite Star Wars games of all time because I'm a very single player campaign driven person, and I thought it was very masterfully done.
Yeah, definitely agree. It's one of the best Star Wars games. I will say, I think the first game, at least for me, it took a lot longer for me to get into the first game compared to the second one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one is good, but I think it has some issues which get fixed within the second game. Like, I think the combat is a little not so great in the first game compared to the second game, but it's still a good game nonetheless. I think the ending of it is really good though, when you're fighting the sisters and then Vader comes in, and,
yeah,
you pretty much bring down the base on top of him and underwater, and he's just holding it there. Like, I don't give a fuck. He isn't stopping me.
Really paints Vader as another super
yeah, it
badass.
Just paints him as, how do you even touch him? Like, I'm fucked. If the entire weight of the fucking oceans can't crush him, like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Like, Yeah, it was good. Like story's good. Gameplay wise, I think lacked a bit. So I put it like either low A or like kind of high B. But moving on to the second game, since it's a sequel, I think the second game is a fucking masterpiece. Like straight up, I think it's the best Star Wars game. Like the combat is awesome. I love how you have options to actually change how you play. With all the different stances you get. I think that's really cool. I think the force abilities feel clean and actually useful. I love how it's an open world kind of game, but it keeps it linear at the same time. So exploration is actually fun and meaningful, and you don't get lost in like a fucking giant ass map doing random stuff. Story, a little disappointed in some of the things in the story. I think the first game has a better story, but the second game has better gameplay overall. But it's still a good game. I would put the first one like again high B, low A, and the second game probably like S tier.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree with a lot of what you said. I definitely think Fallen Order, better story, Jedi Survivor, better gameplay. Fallen Order did feel a little limiting because you had, I think, two styles. You had normal and double bladed, and then for one attack only, you could separate the blades and do like a dual wield attack, but that was it. I think you mentioned like with Vader at the end, like it was a much more impactful story, I think, because it was post Order 66, kind of like what does the Jedi do to find their way again. And Survivor kind of, like I said, gameplay is better. The story kind of expanded on that a little bit, where he's still trying to figure out his way, and he separates from the crew because I think it takes place like 3 or 5 years after the first one, something like that.
Just like a couple of years after the first game.
Yeah, so he's like still trying to find his way. I liked how they pulled in a lot of the High Republic stuff, which I don't know how much you know about the High Republic, but I thought all that was pretty cool. And it had some impactful moments, like Seer's death, I think, was really good. The Bode twist and all that was good.
Oh yeah, that twist, like I saw it coming, but I didn't see like him being, spoiler alert, a fucking Jedi.
Yeah.
Like I knew he was gonna betray them. That was just obvious. But him
100%.
actually being a Jedi, I was like, what?
Yeah, 100%. I had this uneasy feeling about him. Like, oh, I like Bode, but something's not right.
Oh yeah, he's gonna betray you. Like you could just tell. But then him being a Jedi, you're like, hold up.
Yeah, when he force pushed you, I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, you don't stand a chance. It's over. And then he does that. I'm like,
yeah. Moving forward, like I said, the story was good, but not. I wouldn't say like great. I think they have planned to do a third one. But if they do a third one, they could wrap up the story really nicely while also expanding on those gameplay advancements that they made in the second one. So. Yeah, Survivor, I'll say S. I would agree with S because it's my favorite.
This gameplay is just
one of my favorite Star Wars games.
It's very fluid. It's very good. Just everything is really nice about the gameplay. Story is just slightly lacking, but it's not anything crazy bad.
I'm gonna say A for Fallen Order because
yeah, like it's still a good game. It's just
I like it better than Battlefront 2. That's for sure. I'd probably put it even like there.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that wraps it up pretty clean, pretty nice, I think.
Yeah, let's take a look at this, see if we want to adjust anything.
Yeah, if we could just have like maybe another tier under F and then just put the never fucking acknowledge these exist tier.
I mean, wouldn't that just be the whole tier? Everything in F would just go in that one tier, so F would be alone.
You just rename F to pretend these don't exist too.
Yeah, no, I like this list. I think it's pretty fair. I think we met in the middle in some places. So, yeah, I mean that's all we got today. So
this is all we got. It's over. Get out of here.
Yeah, you're still here. Go home.
Fuck out of here.
Ferris Bueller. Yeah, thanks for watching and or listening if you're not watching.
Better be doing both at the same time.
Yeah, watching is definitely better, so you can actually see what we're talking about sometimes.
Or close your eyes and be confused as fuck.
I don't always use names when I say, oh, this is better than this. Kind of point at the screen.
With just one, but what's that?
Yeah, like this one, like who even knows like what to do with that? This would go in the additional tier. But like this one, I mean, maybe we could adjust it a little bit. Yeah, thanks for watching. We don't know what we're going to talk about next time. We'll figure it out. And hope you have a great day.
Peace.